Has been ranked the world's third largest defence spender. Its military budget was increased nearly 10% last year amid an ongoing upgrade of the country's army.
Stockholm's International Peace Research Institute compiled the new ranking, and Primetime's Tabang Motse can tell us more about it. Tabi, good evening. How much is Russia spending on arms?
Well, good evening to you two guys and to our viewers. Well, Russia has actually expanded its expenditure in terms of the military by 9.3%. That's about $7.1 billion that's been spent on military expenditures. Now, the reason why this is happening is because in the last couple of years, Russia, since literally the last 2 decades, since the fall of the Soviet Union, Russia has been trying to get itself to the top of the top when it comes to military personnel, military machinery, and so forth. So they would like to see in the next coming years 70% of the Soviet-era machinery being replaced with new modern technology.
OK, it's obviously a lot more than, say, for example, Switzerland would spend, but how does Russia compare with some of the other major players?
Well, I mean, the last couple of years, we've seen the economic crisis just take over the entire world. Now, we're talking about the top, when we talk about, military power, we're talking about some of the top 5 in the world. Brazil, the United States, the United Kingdom, France and Germany. Now, during this economic crisis, we've actually seen that most countries have had to reshuffle their budgets and, in fact, relook at their deficit. So a lot of cuts have been done, and most of those cuts have been done in terms of their military budget. Now, as we know, places like Spain, Greece and Portugal, they've had to have more, much harsher cuts because of their deficit and because of the economic crisis. Now, it's not all in gloom. I mean, the United States is still #1 in terms of the world's biggest spender when it comes to the military. However, it did cut its expenditure by 1.2% last year. That's because of that budget cuts that they've had in the country. And also thinking about, in terms of the United States, why it dropped a little bit, it's because of, they're moving some of their troops outside of Afghanistan, outside of Iraq in the next coming years. So we're going to see a continuous decline of that budget in the next coming years based on that. One thing to note as well is that China has actually jumped the gun. Just like Russia, they've increased their budget, and they've actually now become the second biggest country in the world that has a very large military budget. I mean, this has made some of their, surrounding neighbors a little bit uneasy. But so far, the experts say that that budget is in correlation with the the GDP of the actual country. So we've seen the economic crisis take over. The last 10 years, it's been, a big money spender when it comes to the military. But we're going to see a little bit of that being dropped within the Eurozone and within the United States, but we will see an increase in terms of countries such as Russia, Africa, as well as Asia.
So Russia is going to carry on increasing its defence expenditure like this, is it? All right, Tabi, thank you so much. That's our correspondent today. Is there anything you'd like to add?
My point is just very simple. I mean, the president has always said that the military is a very key, important factor when it comes to the country. So he would like to see far more being done in terms of research and development and personnel, giving that budget more to those people who need it in the military, who are part of the country's logistics and so forth. So in the next coming years, by 2020, we'll see a lot happening in terms of new machinery and technology coming within the country. They want to become the top 5 in the world in terms of their military strength, and we'll see that happening within the next couple of years.
Thanks so much for that. With all the latest, our correspondent Tabang Motse.